The long wait is finally over. The 2021 Texas high school football season is here. This is week 1. These are the picks. Welcome into the picks, your guide to the Texas high school football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in and welcome to the 2021 Texas high school football season. We have made it to the promised land. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Now look, there's still a bit of an elephant in the room as far as the COVID-19 pandemic, and I certainly hope you will do your part to shoo that wretch out the door by getting vaccinated whenever it is your turn. But we have a full slate of Texas high school football on deck for week 1. Remember, last year we didn't have that. We had the staggered start. 4A, 3A, 2A, and 1A started before. 6A and 5A. Now it's one big party. Everybody into the pool. We've got huge games everywhere you look. We start in Arlington. 7 o'clock Thursday night at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. It's a huge DFW clash between the Highland Park Scots and the Southlake Carroll Dragons. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number 1, all eyes under center. I don't love to do this because I kind of like to be a hipster on these types of videos and say, oh, actually, this is going to be the thing that determines things. But let's be honest about what this game is going to come down to and what everybody's going to be watching, which is the quarterback situation. We'll start with Highland Park, because I think that's a little bit of the underrated story here. They are replacing a really good quarterback. Braden Shager is off to Hawaii, leading them on a deep playoff run once again last year. The new guy to know is Brennan Storer. All reports are that he is very solid, and when's the last time Highland Park had a bad quarterback? But look, he's unproven, and until otherwise seen, we have to see how things are going to go for Brennan Storer for the Scots. Of course, there's the other side with Southlake Carroll, and perhaps you heard the quarterback controversy there. Quinn Ewers has reclassified as a 2021 recruit and has already signed and is on campus at Ohio State. The number 1 prospect in the nation is no longer playing high school football. He is now in Columbus. It will fall to Caden Anderson, the new guy stepping up into the role. And look, there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on Caden Anderson. All reports are that he's pretty solid, he's ready for the job, and Riley Dodge is confident about what he's going to bring to the table. But look, whenever you lose the number 1 prospect in the nation, you're going to take a little bit of a step back. That's just inherent in being the number 1 prospect in the nation. So, with all eyes on who's under center, who steps up in this season opener? Key number 2, the Dragons' defense. So when you think of Southlake Carroll and you think of Riley Dodge coach teams, you think offense, right? And rightly so. Their offense has been really, really good. But I think that this could be the year that the defense really takes a step forward with Barrett Baker and Avon Jones. This is a veteran team that really grew up during their deep playoff run all the way to the state championship game last year. Remember, at the beginning of last year, they were a really, really young defense. Now, a lot of those guys are back. How do they gel early in the season? And key number 3, week 1 wobblies. I couldn't really find a good phrase for what I was talking about, so I kind of made one up. And plain and simple, in week 1, weird things happen, right? It's the first week of the season. You're coming off of the off season. Maybe it's the first time you're getting hit in any sort of real way. You never really know how teams are going to react. Now, I will say, you're talking about 2 of the most disciplined programs in this state. Highland Park is known for going out there and playing mistake-free football. I would expect nothing less even in a season opener against a state-ranked 6A team. Southlake Carroll, very similarly, they run a very tight ship over there. But look, these are high school kids. This is week 1. It's at AT&T Stadium. It's on national television. There's going to be a little bit of nerves out there. So, who handles those week 1 wobblies best? Who am I picking? I'm going with Southlake Carroll. The Dragons get the nod here on the strength of their defense, which I think is going to be ready to roll right out of the gate and give this still developing and still young offense for Highland Park a little bit of trouble. This is one of those games that I'd like to see like 7 weeks from now and kind of compare notes, because I do think that it may take a little bit more time for Highland Park to get up to speed with so many new faces in there. Now look, I think that Brennan Storer is capable of going out there and putting his name on the map as one of the very best quarterbacks in the state of Texas. For now, though, I think Southlake Carroll is maybe a little bit more of a finished product. That's why they get the nod. I think the Dragons get the win. Let's go down Houston way. 7:30 p.m. Thursday night at Randall Reed Stadium in New Caney. It is a 4A versus 5A clash as the Carthage Bulldogs take on the Crosby Cougars live on TexanLive.com. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number one, how much does size matter? Well, let's just flat out say it. Carthage is a 4A Division II team. And yes, they are the kings of 4A Division II. Nobody doubts that they are the number one team there. But Crosby's a 5A Division II team. I mean, a full classification separates these two teams. And remember, Crosby ran to a state championship game last year. We never really know how to judge these cross-classification matchups in non-district play, and what is that limitation? You know, could a 2A team beat a 6A team? You know, we don't really know. It's a little bit more art than science. So that's a big question in this one. Just how much in this particular instance does size matter? Key number two, Crosby's offensive reload. So remember last year, Crosby ran all the way to the 5A Division II state championship game. It was an unbelievable run for Coach Jerry Prieto's squad getting to Arlington. And it was largely on the back of Daniquez Dunn and Reggie Branch. Well, both those guys are gone, and they're going to need to find some new pieces to step in. Quarterback Siren Miles has turned some heads in the offseason. Wide receiver Cameron Kirkwood is back to lead this offense. But this is a huge test right out of the gate because this Carthage defense, guys, is nasty. Led by linebacker Kip Lewis. They are a veteran bunch that, of course, won a state championship last year at the 4A Division II level. So, how quickly can Crosby reload on offense? And key number three, the hangover. Okay, week one, and both these teams had a lot of success last year. A lot. Both of them were playing in Arlington in the final game of their classification season. One of them won a state championship. The other one came up short, but they played all the way to the end. It was a season worth celebrating for both of these squads. Well, now you've got to wipe the slate clean and start 0-0, and sometimes that's easier said than done, especially if you've been reading your own press clippings over the course of the last 7 months. So, my question in this one is who can avoid the hangover from last season? Who can come out ready to play in week one? I think that's a big key in this one. Who am I picking? I'm going with Carthage. I'm going with a smaller team in this one because I think that their defense is going to be the difference. Remember, last year, all eyes were on the Carthage offense. I think their defense was the real star of that team, and they bring back a ton from that last year's squad, including Kip Lewis at the linebacker spot. Furthermore, we don't know who's going to be the quarterback. They've kind of cycled through a couple of different QBs there in Carthage, but we know that they're going to be able to throw to Montrell Hatton. Now, I do think for Crosby, a lot of this comes down to how quickly their defense can get up to speed. This is a team that only brings back 3 starters on both sides of the ball. So I think this may be one of those teams that peaks at the right time, maybe later in the season. But for now, I think Carthage goes to the neutral site and gets a big win. Give me the Bulldogs. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Grapevine's Mustang Panthers Stadium. It's the Battle of the Red Rail, live on Bally Sports Southwest as part of Texas Football Days, as the Collegeville Heritage Panthers take on the Grapevine Mustangs. If you've never seen the Battle of the Red Rail, fantastic rivalry in the DFW Metroplex. You're in for a treat if you tune in to Bally Sports Southwest. A lot of intrigue here on the coaching sidelines. I really like Mike Alexander at Grapevine, and of course Kirk Martin at Collegeville Heritage needs no introduction. Heritage actually reminds me this year of a little bit of those vintage Manville teams that Kirk Martin was the head coach of. I think they're going to be really, really explosive with guys like Parker Rowe. This team, I think they're going to get out there and hum. Furthermore, they've got a game breaker on defense in Dylan McKinney. This kid is all over the place. For Grapevine, they're kind of interesting. They're going to be really big up front. I think their defensive line has a chance to be really good with Garrett Gardner. And then they've got these smallish but super quick skill position guys. Guys like Parker Polk, guys like Caleb Tejada. I think they are going to be able to get out in space and run. I think we're in for a fantastic matchup on Bally Sports Southwest as part of Texas Football Days. For now, I give the slight edge to Collegeville Heritage. Let's go small school. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Brama's Memorial Stadium in Hallettsville as Shiner begins their 2A Division I title defense against Hallettsville. Shiner's back. Of course, the 2A Division I state champions from a year ago do bring back Dalton Brooks and viral sensation Doug Brooks, but they're losing a little bit of size up front. That's something to keep an eye on this one. Hallettsville's really an interesting story. They lose Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year in Jonathan Brooks. He's off to the University of Texas. And of course, he was such a huge part of them running to the 3A Division I state championship game. But almost everyone else is back, right? Trace Patek, their quarterback, is back. I believe the other 10 starters on offense are back for Hallettsville. But Jonathan Brooks was, of course, so important to them. Just how important? It's early. It's really hard to call this game. For now, I give Shiner the very slight edge, but keep an eye on this game. And 2 o'clock Saturday at the Star in Frisco, it's the Jerry Jones Classic as the Longview Lobos take on the Denton Ryan Raiders in a game that has huge implications moving forward. Remember, both these teams are not only in 5A Division I and state championship contenders, but also in the same region. This is a Region 2 slugfest here, and I'm very interested to see how it plays out. Denton Ryan, the defending 5A Division I state champs, do lose a number of big-time players, either to graduation, like Billy Bowman and Jatavian Sanders, or to transfer, like defensive lineman Bear Alexander, who's off to Fort Worth Brewer. But they have a lot of other pieces back, including Austin Jordan on the defensive side and Khalib Hicks, their outstanding running back. It'll be a different team, but I think it's still going to be outstanding. Longview's going to score, y'all. Longview's going to score. They got playmakers all over the place. Taylor Tatum, their running back, is ready for a breakout year. I think Jalen Hill, their wide receiver, might be one of the very best pass catchers in the state of Texas. The questions for them are going to be on quarterback, where they have a couple of options, and I know they feel really good about that, and on defense, which absolutely has to reload. That's the big question here. I think this is a fantastic way to kick off the season Saturday at the Star. I give Denton Ryan the early edge. But those are far from the only big games in Week 1 of the 2021 Texas high school football season. Let's get to the lightning round. I like Argyle to get past private school powerhouse Fort Worth. Nolan, give me Abernathy to take down Shallow Water. And I like Austin Vandergrift in a close one over Cedar Park. Austin Westlake begins their title defense with a win over Temple. I'm taking East Bernard to get past Edna. And one of the toughest games to call this week, I like Beckville over Joaquin. Bernie Champion takes down San Antonio Stevens. Divorce Jones leads El Paso Burgess over Canutillo. And a fantastic DFW matchup. I like Rockwall over Cedar Hill. Centerville starts 1-0 with a win over New Waverly. Corbin Covarrubias leads El Dorado in a season-opening win over San Saba. And I'm going to go with Cristoval over Wink. DeSoto beats Converse Judson. I like Harlingen over Laredo United South. And give me Eastland over Wall. El Paso Eastwood over El Paso Parkland. Idalou takes down Denver City. And the number 1 team in 3A Division II, Franklin, gets a win over Lorena. In Houston, I like Galena Park North Shore over Alvin Shadow Creek. Up north, I like Iowa Park over Holiday. And down south, I like George West over San Diego. I like Gilmer in a slugfest over Gladewater. Give me Katy Pato over Barbers Hill. And Gunner starts 1-0 with a win over Sunnyvale. 2 newish Houston schools square off. I like Klein Kane over Bridgeland. I'm going to go with Lexington to take down West. And Lake Travis beats Arlington Martin. 2 teams have gotten to know each other very well recently. I like Malakoff to beat Grandview. Huge game in San Antonio. Keep an eye on this one. I like San Antonio Brenham over San Antonio Reagan. And Manville gets a close win over Dickinson. Mason beats Comanche. I like Spearman to start 1-0 with a win over Stratford. And Melissa gets by Salina. Mercedes beats Brownsville Hannah. Weslaco East beats Weslaco in the Tanaco Bowl. And I'm going to go with Nederland over West Orange Stark. Give me Norman G over Bremont. And in our 6-man game of the week, it's a big one. I like Borden County over May. And those are the picks. What am I wrong about? Which games did I leave out? Leave comments down below. It's the most wonderful time of the year when I get to read your comments. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com, where you can find complete coverage of the 2021 Texas high school football season at texasfootball.com. Thanks for watching. Enjoy football season, folks. We'll see you.